Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Kerbal Space program. Today, our goal is the moon, or the moon, as it were. So, not only will we have a bit of a ticket for it, we may have a guest stop by, we may not. We got a mission control though. Explore the moon. Now, the issue, well, explore Kerbin. And this is basically, we must dock two vehicles in orbit. We're gonna kind of skip that. Or at least, we're gonna attempt to skip that. But in order to make that attempt itself, we're gonna need more science. Or get more science, we need a vessel that can do it. I think what I'm gonna do it can't be the first part. That's good to know. We're gonna do this so we can have one scientist on board. I forgot that they added a whole bunch of different suits. I think we're gonna do scientists are blue. Why not? Actually, what we should do is this, followed by this, followed by that, followed by that, followed by that, followed by that. Now again, we're going to be making a car. Durable, retractable. Okay, so technically speaking, that is only part of it. We're gonna do this, bring it back just a little bit. Why do I keep doing that? Now, I don't know why it's like putting these at a wonk. There we go. But we're gonna make ourselves a little itty bitty car. Which, now that I think about it, one of the things I should do is add a control. That way, in the ever unfortunate event that yeah, why not? It's not great, but it works. But yeah, in the ever unfortunate event that he has to get out and do something, or I have to basically send it off on its own, it can be taken care of on its own. What I'm gonna do is do another compartment. Open that, put that in there. That in there. And then close that. Let's grab this battery, bring it in. At least now, technically, that can mostly handle itself, but what we're going to do is add twin tiny fuel engines. And by doing this, we almost guarantee a very fuel efficient way of getting around the map. There we go. A little bit better. A little bit floatier. This. Bring you down there. That puts you there. And basically what we're doing is making a little command post, essentially. Okay. Rover 1. MK1. There we go. I think that's everything I have available at this time. Honestly, I don't need a lot for this. It's just, it kind of exists. That's what it specializes in. The one thing we are going to do, though, is go to the desert. Well, I don't know if the desert is updated. Yeah. to know. If I gear down, and antenna, lights, and yeah, even though it's using a small electrical charge, yeah, they can just sit here. What I can do is log all of it, crew report, EVA, EVA report, restore, close, board, open it one more time, collect all. Gear up. Release the brakes. Now right now, stop moving. And all we're gonna do, roll where we gotta go. Simple as that. I don't know what counts, so we're gonna go. Ooh. Gear down. And as long as I don't flip myself, it's fine. Observation from the desert. And honestly, I can do all this select all of it. EVA. EVA report. Collect it. Restore. Board it. Gear up. Start engine. Just get moving. Collect all. So it should be power as a 6. Okay, let's slow down. We don't want to crash. Gear down. Cut down. Just to save our ears. Conduct a survey. Study from the deserts. Now, whether this overrides the other stuff, I don't know. I am going to at least attempt to do all this EVA report, board it, and recover the vessel. Ta-da! Give me not a. I don't think it'll give me a lot. It'll give me a little bit. Okay, gave me a little more than I thought. Gave me 96. So no experience gained. Yeah, just kind of rode around in a little car. I can understand why they wouldn't want to give him experience for that. Ooh, cool. RCA stuff. That is EVA experiments kit. I believe I technically need that for the wait, please allow. And central station. Okay, that's great. Where's a central station? I guess that has to be it. Okay, so that's something that's necessary. It also gives me the rover wheel, so that may just end up being my thing. Because while this gives me the turbine blades and all that for an aircraft, and that gives me the fuel. Technically speaking, the rovers are going to be the thing that gets me out of here. It's a shame, but it, at the end of the day, like I said, the rovers are what's gonna get me out of here, because I can put a rover somewhere, have it drive around, and almost know for sure that we're gonna make a new one. We're gonna do a probe body, and we're gonna make a tiny rover. Something that's designed to exist and exist alone. Boom. And give me 1 second. And go there. Now it doesn't annoy me a little that I don't have better solar panels, but there's not really a lot I can do about that until, you know, I have them. Now, funny thing is, this doesn't need. So it's not that it doesn't need. It's not going to get the Science Junior or the Mystery Goo because they need to be reset. And a rover can't do that. Oh, cool. The hitchhiker compartment, which is actually really useful for some stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, that's everything. Rover Mark II. I'm gonna save. We're gonna launch it. We're gonna do a little test ride around. But I'm almost 100% positive this is going to behave beautifully. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Now, the thing I have to be careful with, and it does warn you, do not mess with time warp. And that's why you don't mess with time warp. Oops. I hit a pebble and exploded. Ahmed would be proud. Screaming early. I don't know what that is. But I will take the reward for it, nonetheless. And yeah, this is... like, there's no stages to this. This just is. It is a funny little bug-eyed thing, but other than that, that's all it is. These things are great, though, if you want to deploy them. Like, if you build a little rocket carrier for this, take the wheels off, make it a little stationary stand, it works fabulously as a little, like, relay station. The main thing you have to be careful of is any place you put this down on, the surface is going to get in your way. So it doesn't really work great in a crater or anything like that. But if you don't want to be putting giant like antennas on stuff, this can make just a great little midpoint. Engage the brakes. Actually, edit action groups. We want to do custom. Custom 1. There we go. Custom 1 actual. Log. And we log. And hypothetically, if I come here and hit 1, you review it and transmit it. And that's all I need to do. That's odd. No idea why the brakes were in a half set mode, but it is what it is. Just gonna sit here, roll around, make sure I am on set 1 because that's where I put the stuff. Transmit. And it's just this easy. Ooh-doo-doo-doo. There we go. Now what I should probably do is make a deep space probe. So I can basically launch something way out there and then just collect data from it as it travels. So if anyone's never done this before, this is one of the little tricks to getting a bunch of science. There we go. Well, I don't even know why it's forcing itself, but we'll send as much as we can. Warp to sunrise, because why not? Oh, that was bad, but some of the things you can do on accident. Skip multiple days. Now we recover. See how much we gained just from that. Back up to 90, which means have okay. Fuel is more important, and the reason for that is I can now make an asparagus staged rocket. I'm going to attempt to fling something way out. I will attempt to crash it into a planet because it's kind of the easiest way to you want to do that. Want to do that. that's technically fully upgraded. I think there's really a reason for me to upgrade anything else. I'm down to a very, very small amount. Cash. Actually, since I'm down to such a small amount of cash, let me see if there's some missions that I can do that are gonna pay nice and quickly. Our satellite, yeah, that's a fun node right now. Temperature survey. So this is an aircraft mission. It is a high-flying aircraft mission. I don't know if I can do that. However, this is also an aircraft mission, but it's all surface. Oh, I'm gonna take that. And I'll take this. Specifically because it lets me do EVAs. Here, let me see what the missions are looking like. Okay. Wait, did I accept a mission for a submarine? I really hope not. I haven't got a clue how to make a submarine. Like, granted, it's just, you know, crash something into the ocean hard enough that it stays crashed. Cancel. And this time, we have a whole mess of stuff to work with. I wish there was just a button I could push that would be like, hey, you know, only show me jet fuel. Engines, I don't... Yeah, I still have not gotten the better engine. That's going to be a problem. Now, thankfully, I can repack parachutes if done correctly. That's... like, it's great for a, what's it called? Great for an actual, rocket, not so great for this. Sorry about that. Well, what I can do, I can cap it, remove it, do an... where is... I swear there was a import. Eventually, I will figure out a good way to do this. Because I'm guessing there's probably a unlock for it where I can unlock certain things. Nope. Jeb, you're fired. Because we need... Sorry. My wife is wanting to order food, so had to let her know what I would like. Okay. And then we come here. And do that. Now we got some batteries tucked away. Now the thing that I won't be able to tuck away, at least not until much later, is the antennae. That's gonna have to kind of just sit there. Let's see. That there. Go to utilities and do that, even though technically I shouldn't need it if I do this right. I'd rather have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. Now the important thing I need to do is make sure, above all else, that... oh, sorry. Ooh. Oh, that's kind of rough on me. I have to ensure it can take off and land under its own power, because if not, it is just going to cause an issue when I stop at any of the way stations, basically. Really don't like the way they force that to behave. I think we want to go with 1. Only because... there we go. Don't need pitch for that. Don't need yaw for that. Now the biggest problem is that's in front of, or actually no, I think that's right. Center lift right behind center of mass is what they recommend. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if I had the other gentleman on board, I could use that to repair stuff, but there we go. Now, that's the easy part. Here comes the hard part. I need to build a set of turbocharged engines. We're going to do this. I need to do it right. Engine right there. And follow a simple air intake engine setup. And then make sure I match it. And then just go there to there. From there to there. And from there to there. Not perfect, but it should work. I don't know if it should fly, but we're gonna find out real quick. I honestly, let me read up on the missions real quick. Take pressure readings. Herman's turf. Gonna have to check it. I'm gonna call it a biplane MK1. Just because I'm not building this for speed, I'm not building it for anything other than getting scientists from A to B. I do wish the missions were a little clearer on where they intended for you to go. Also really hoping I'm... Oh. Over at the hangar because I made a goof. I need to go here and do that. Because I forgot how long and heavy the plane is, and the fact that the center of mass is behind the wheel axles, it's going to tip. And if it's going to tip, I'd rather it tip in a way that makes it easier for me to do my job. Okay. That's easy enough. Now, theoretically, I could make little things I could drop off there. Ooh. Revert flight, revert to hangar. I'm gonna have to bring this down. Save it. And go from there. I wish it made it easier for you to figure out. Because I could drop the whole thing to the ground, but since parts can clip through the ground, it's not going to tell me, hey, you know, this is doing better than that. Now, the only downside is, because I don't have an actual pilot, it's not going to want to behave itself. Okay. What? Let me guess. The wheels are misbehaving again. I guess we'll do a small increase. We'll start at 50. Work our way up nice and gently. I think the wheels are... yeah. I'm gonna have to bring this in. Okay, revert to hangar. Actually, I can bring the wheels in the back. Up. And that should, in theory, let the wheels touch in a nice, gentle way. Okay, that's not gentle at all. In fact, those wheels are very angry. And boom. Start to launch. Let me guess, I'm gonna have to switch to fine control. Of course, these are being jittery as can be. Okay, we're gonna revert to a spaceplane hangar, and we have to fix this somehow because this is just out of hand. You know what? Let's do it like this. If it wants to focus on these, I'll let it focus on them. Let me put them somewhere they are not. Also makes... Also grab this. Do that. Save it. Launch it. And let's see what we can do. Okay. Now that's not super great. You don't want to be nose down, but... not a whole lot I can do about it. Okay. I think what my issue's been is I have been adding too much power too quickly. We're gonna revert. Because again, having an issue with the wheels. Path. Okay, that should be enough to hoist it off the ground. We do not want steering on them. We only want this back wheel doing the steering. There's probably other settings I definitely need to do, but for right now, that's what we're gonna do. Hopefully, it won't do crazy things like that. Scares me. Go to half throttle for now. Stop your wobbling. And it wobbled out again. I don't know why it just doesn't want to be stable. This is very frustrating. Let me try shortening it. Turn it into a small stubby aircraft. I know there's something, but I also know I definitely just offset the weight terribly. But at this point, tired of it being so unstable that it just refuses to fly. So, that, okay. The fact that that worked has me quite a bit terrified. Okay, so stubby plane worked. Actually worked so well, I've got to bring it up to a higher altitude. Because this has so much potential. I'm actually increasing my burn time by going higher. But the fact that my thrust to weight is not above 1, and yet it seems more than happy to just keep going. Now the main downside is this thing is nowhere near fast enough for this to be a quick ride. And because I have a scientist on board and not a pilot, I can't just lock the SAS. Although I could have thrown an SAS model on it, and I think... Okay. Since I know it does behave, instead of doing anything too crazy, what I'm gonna do, and, you know, I say anything too crazy, where I then add an entire extra module on here and hope that I don't bring the thing to the ground. Actually, do the smart thing. Build probe cores. And the reason we're doing it that way that I'm not fighting. Oh. Helps if I have solar panels, because no solar panels, no power. There we go. Actually, I wonder... Good enough, I tucked it inside. Close the bays. Screws fine. Nope, don't want to switch the editors. Actions. And what I want to do... Huh. I might have to set it up on the ground. Either that or it let me use the actions I wasn't supposed to. Yep, it didn't let me use actions I probably wasn't supposed to be able to use. Oh, no, you have to actually click on the thing to force it. Alright. Now I feel a little silly. Edit the action group. Default. Custom action 1. Log temperature. Log pressure. Observe. And conduct. Action 2. Toggle antenna. Action 3. Toggle. Boop. 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 Get a nice nav beacon going. And let's look at getting airborne, because apparently this can do it relatively easily. So my question is, on tries, it does not tell me yeah, I'm barely using any fuel. I'm surprised it doesn't tell me the like, that tells me how much I've got, but I'm actually fighting against drag, which is funny because I'm still increasing speed as I'm gaining altitude. That's funny. It's also kind of annoying that I can't see my flow rates, because I'm pretty sure at a certain point my engine's just gonna cut out from not enough oxygen. Okay, let's slow down because I'm basically misbehaving in an aircraft, and that's not good. back up. That is ever... Wow, thrust weight's really suffering. It is ever so slightly annoying. I could always make this a rocket. And then, have it basically take off as it re-enters. But I think what I'm gonna do... Come here. Stop that deployment. Stop that deployment. Stop that deployment. I'm gonna let it dive. And I'm gonna stay at roughly 9,000. Okay. Let it go for a bit. Reduce warp. Better find control. Bring us back up. The main thing I want to do, and be very careful with it, is make sure where I'm heading is in line with those boots. That's what they want. They want boots on the ground. We're moving. Now our biggest problem is going to be the satellite not being right over us. Means we can lose contact. As long as we are keeping speed up and like gaining altitude is not a great thing because eventually, as you see, you start losing speed. But it should find a balance. I wish I had the ability to build something faster, but as it stands, the thrust of the Juno engines is minuscule. Oh, that's funny. I think we're going to use that tool and look at putting something in orbit around the moon. Or Mun, as it were. And doing that so that I can A, have a little satellite there, but B, have something to align to keep an eye on. Now we are losing speed, but we are gaining altitude. We can fix that. We don't want to go too far because, as you saw, the balance is broken. There we go. Again, it's gonna take so long. Actually, as much fun as this is, I might as well continue to go through with it. At this point, I'm doing this trip in real time, even if I do speed it up by 4 times. All it's gonna do is make this 4 times as quick. Honestly, I'm spending more fuel than I thought I would be. And there's the balancing point. Why not? We're going at decent speeds. Okay. Reduce warp. Go into a heavy climb, and then increase speed until the climb does not increase. Oh. The funny thing is, this is with me having soft control on. That's why those are blue. So there was a mod that used to let you build like launch pads and stuff anywhere you wanted. So what I used to do was all the stuff I'm doing now, but get to the point where you can do a little bit, not a lot, of base building, where I would then start building little like launch sites all over, like down here, over there, and part of it was to get interesting launch zones for orbit, but the other part of it was when I had to do something with an aircraft, I could just take it off where I wanted it. Speed, gain altitude. Actually, I know what I forgot. I was supposed to put parachutes on this to help slow it down when I want to come in for a landing. So now I've got to be a lot more gentle with my landings, and I'm really hoping that the terrain here is a little bit friendlier. Max acceleration. It's cool. It does drive me a bit insane that I've been flying for 30 minutes with this thing. Nice one. Let's see. That's funny. Well, flying at Kerbin. I think because I'm not near a specific thing, it's just like, yep, he's flying at Kerbin. Head maneuver node. Warp here, yes, straight into the ground. I'm so happy I got maneuver nodes. It does make life quite a bit easier. And having the ability to do asparagus staging is going to be chef's kiss. It will be what I need to consistently put stuff in very high orbit. Alright, let me speed up time. I keep forgetting I have to do this at slow speeds, or it is going to crash. Quick saving, just in case. Speed, pull up. Yeah, I figured that would be something I would get angry about. And raise altitude. Thrust is lowering because we are losing air, which again, I wish I can lock on there so I could see it. But we are almost to our site. Okay, we've used quite a bit of fuel. I'm not going to attempt to get back. We'll basically just order a pickup and go from there. And we are causing a little bit of air disturbance by doing that, but hypothetically, I do this way. I can do that. I'm only gonna lose a little bit of speed. Really wish it would stop. Trying to deafen me with everything, but I'm gonna go here and keep moving. Just keep swimming. There's our little buddy. Since we have a direct connection, it is not gonna care too much about it. Oh, going too fast. Need to stabilize and lift. Come on, stabilize. Wow, that got really floaty really quick. There we go. Almost balanced out. I don't mind if I just keep gaining speed because I am almost at my objective and it has taken me way too long to get here. It is cool that they have all this quite literally built into the game. Okay, this is back to real time because we need to come in for a landing. Cut the engines. Pull up. So I know it's on the surface, but I don't really have a good definition of where it is. But this isn't too bad. Coming on it quickly, and I don't think it's gonna give me like a hey, go here kind of indicator, so I think what I need to do is come down lower. And we will save after a successful landing. So I'll quick save right there. Because in theory, I should be able to save that. I have to assume that is the thing they want me to check out. You're down. Oop. Okay. 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 This is very loud, and what I want to do, come here, edit action group, grab you, action group 5, toggle, 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 and now I can bring myself down and up. And now I can just kind of float across the land. Again, I really wish it would give me more information. Like, I'm almost there. But it kind of feels like I'm, like, slow boating. You do this, hit the brakes, hit the brakes, hit the brakes. At the engine so I can hear better. Oop. Pressure reading. Temperature reading. I do find that very funny. Okay. Okay. We're just gonna keep going. First part. Get the engine up. Let's just that. Okay, so this is the easy way to do it. Just ride until it tells me I'm roughly there. And because I put it on a hotkey, I can just keep it going. But yeah, this is a great way to make quick cash. Not perfect, because I know you can make a bit more cash with some contracts later on. But in the beginning, when you don't have a lot of choices, is lovely. Do 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 do. Really wish the innocents were quieter. You find it funny there's like trees and stuff around. Doop doop. Okay, yeah, I made this very, very floaty, which is probably the only main reason it flies. Okay. Contract complete. Activate. Go up. Gears in. Yeah, at least for now. Gonna increase. We're gonna push it, since once we finish this, there's not gonna be an issue. Or more specifically, there's not gonna be a reason to keep this aircraft out here. forgot to do a quick save on the ground, so that's something I want to be careful about. Also, I do have to be careful because as lady as this is, I don't want it to just, you know, crumple into the ground. Goody. Let's just stop. Good. EVA. EVA report. Transmit. Board. Crew report. Keep. And we're gonna go here. Transmit. Haha. Yeah, I get the feeling that this is all gonna be up this mountain. I'm also going to want to try to keep this at a steady pace because this feels like the kind of thing that will just annihilate me if I try to force it. Okay, can't quick save while moving over a surface. Bring it to a stop. Quick saving. Save complete. Engines to full. Bring us to our 20 meter per second. Cut the engines so that we are not losing our eardrums. Is there a cool thing I could have done with add rover wheels to this? So when I want, I can switch to rover, but I don't have this stuff right now for a good rover conversion system. Yeah, this is gonna be a bit of a pain in the butt. Well, it does look like I might have some extra time today. Just because I have food coming in, and the wife would like me to be the one to grab it since the little one is getting ready for bed. Just stop. Use the gear for a swap over. Hello! How you doing, Maverick? Actually doing a little mission because started a day planning a moon mission, realized that I can afford to do a moon mission, I cannot afford to do anything afterwards, so decided to do 2 missions. I did not know they were nearby, and I did not know it was going to take this long to actually get out here. So, yeah. What I'm doing is I have a bit of a plane I built. Oop. And I'm trying to carefully maneuver it around here to get to all these spots that they want me to walk a Kerbin to. And because I didn't, you know... Thank you! I am terrible with planes. This thing, however, behaves a lot better than it honestly should. It's got a bunch of hidden compartments and stuff. You know, hiding a bunch of, control boards. Now, while I'm climbing a hill with a plane, don't ask me, I'm guessing at this point. I'm just tired of, spending so much time trying to get out here. I'm actually gonna have to do a small AFK in a moment. Am I flying? Okay, no. Which is good, because this thing is very flighty. Like, a strong gust of wind will pick this thing off the ground. Oop. Come on, nice and careful. Okay. Let's fix its positioning. See how far it wants us to go. Okay, so basically wants me to go in that crater over there. I don't know how I feel about it. I get the feeling that I could get down there. It's because as silly as it sounds, planes are weird to make in real life. Once you start getting actual weights and stuff involved, and you're not working with like balsa wood or foam, things get really crazy really quickly. And the funny thing is, this does a decent job of portraying that. The problem is, because it does a decent job of portraying that, it makes it very difficult. Alright. For right now, I'm gonna just see if I can run it. Yeah, that's not gonna work. If I was on the moon already, that would work really well. But right now, I gotta do this. I think my next aircraft I'm gonna design is gonna be a scaled up version of that. I actually had to scale that back because my first design was too unstable. But when it gives you a... No. Believe it or not, it's probably my first playthrough in the last 3 years, give or take. I used to play way back when a lot of the features that are here now were actually mods. Also, I realized I have Jebediah as my thing, so I can't even reset my science anyway. So, yeah. That explains why it's a little easier flying over here also. But I have 2 more sites I've got to visit to get this, but these pay a decent amount. You play much of KSP 1, or are you more of a KSP 2 kind of guy? And I apologize if I'm using wrong pronouns. Just going based off your username. I could have swore there was a mission mod back in the day that would at least tell you how far you were from the place you had to go to turn these things in. That's what I've heard. So it's weird. I've heard interesting things about KSP2, but I've also heard that nothing's happened with it. And that upsets me because I was so excited for the idea of like multiple solar systems that you can drop in and out of, and yeah, kind of feeling like I should have taken the airplane. Okay. Hey, airplane. Let's see if I can... So one of the tricks I've done with these a lot... Ooh, careful, careful, careful. One of the tricks I've done with these in the past is putting a... That's what I was thinking, like, if... But I think the whole reason they were doing a sequel instead of an update... I've lost my astronaut. Oh no, he's just literally right down there in front of the aircraft. Let's see if we can do this without running him over. Yeah, he's right there. I think they updated the engine that runs the physics. Brakes. Lock the brakes. Cut the engine, because I don't need them. I'm rolling downhill. And let's just get him aboard. Sorry about that, I know the engine can be a little loud. Yeah, I think it's the physics engine was the whole point. They were updating it so that it made it easier for them to do what they were doing, which I understand, but I feel like they should have waited. Don't ask me why it hasn't exploded. I still haven't figured it out, and I'm not jinxing it. Because everything I know about KSP said this should be exploding just from being here. Go. Especially because I can go like this, and like this, and it does it again. I'm also being really dangerous by having this set to turn steering on the wheels, even though I normally don't on the front wheels. Right now I have the brake set to 200%. That means that it is going to stop it, but also means that if I try to stop it when I'm flying, it will just nose down at all times. But at this point, nose is already in the ground, not much I can do about it. Aha! Hit the brakes. EVA. Don't even bother getting off. Board the aircraft. Transmit our, like, nothing data. Now turn the engines on. Now I gotta do this very carefully, because these engines, while they are not super powerful, normally they're not, but they do pay enough for me to afford certain missions that I want to do. Which is kind of, unfortunately, the thing I need. Is just a little bit of seed money. Normally, my favorite contracts are ones where you can test equipment, because A, it gives you access to some equipment early, but B, they're, like, easy money. Now, normally what I would do, if it wasn't a, you know, get out and walk thing, is I would actually drop a bunch of probes with, like, rover setups from orbit, and it would skip a lot of the slowdown I had with getting out here. Because, yeah, these are paying, I think it's 20,000 each, and then a completion bonus of, like, 120,000. So, like, normally, not worth it. When you're low on funds, very worth it. Brakes. Oh, that should have gone a lot worse than it did. Thankfully, I have enough engines that I could technically do vertical takeoff and landing with this. And it is flighty enough. Well, I guess I have to turn steering on the front now. The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure this thing will still fly. Oh yeah, no, I was totally expecting to have Jeb walking the entire rest of the way. And it is a bit of a way, so... Like, it is going to be very angry that, you know... Well... Switch to... Yeah. A little rover would have absolutely saved me. It was actually something I was talking about a little earlier. The problem with this mission is it's a EVA one. Okay, what exploded that time? I don't have anything close enough to the ground. Come on. Come on. At this point, I probably would have been better served flying with the giant crew cab and just having people get out and parachute down. Yeah, no, that's too fast. Okay. Lock that. Cut the engines. Cut the engines, not quick save. EVA it. Let go. Again, it still does not want to tell me where I'm going. Okay, so I can recover him on my own. Actually, before I accidentally strand him out here, let me have him complete the mission. And then, just recover everything from the hangar. Or not the hangar, the, there's a word for it. But my brain is not remembering it. But basically the satellite station. Yeah, I do really like doing the free play one. But the reason I do the career is I intentionally like a little bit of challenge. Like the way I'm playing this right now is if the satellites do not have communication, they don't have control, unless they have a human pilot, which is irritating sometimes, but other times it's that challenge that, you know, is just really fun, because you could sit there and be like, oh, I can easily land on the moon, and then realize that you're using a probe body and you don't have any way of communicating on the far side of the moon. And now you've lost control because, you know, it can't see you. And if, you know, you can't be seen by your satellites, you can't control it and tell it to slow down to get into a synchronous burn. I'm gonna do something a little silly. Yeah, you know, kind of like one of those things of like, probably shouldn't start your first foray into medical science with brain surgery. But that's why I like KSP, because, you know, it's brain surgery for dummies. Or as my buddy would say, rocket surgery. The trick for liking a challenge is don't worry about the challenges they give you. Set something for yourself. Like, set yourself a goal and go, I want to make sure by the end of this, lobotomy is basically what it ends up being. But what you want to be able to do is go, by the end of it, I want to be able to do this without questioning it. Of course, it's like all the way down in the valley of it. But yeah, it's a great feeling when you give yourself a challenge. So you can, but the problem is, I think right now I have like the first tier jetpack. So as you see, it mostly is just fun for ragdolling. I think, I don't know, I haven't checked since, you know, it's been 3 years since I've played this. I think you do get a better backpack at some point. Yeah, Jeb's just like, falling on his face. Come on, Jeb, just run. You're doing better, and your face is probably hurting a little less. Also doesn't help that I have you doing all this with your helmet off, so nothing's really protecting your face from the ground. Raise your visor. Honestly, what I probably should have done was just got the airplane in the air, since I've already transmitted all the data, and then had him parachute out to this area. But my luck is he'd parachute out and still manage to get blown up. On one of my other, what was it, Monday, because I try to do this relatively often, because I have a couple series I do that I share with YouTube, and I do those on Tuesday and Thursday. But I did this on Monday, and one of the things I made was little lander pods that help increase like your networking, which is great. But then I realized on Kerbin, because this is not the mod, I did not realize it. Let me zoom out this far while controlling Jeb. That's silly. But on Kerbin, since it's not the mod for radio control, there are more points available. And it was like, okay, dropping them on Kerbin, not really useful. Great proof of concept, especially if I need to drop them on, what is it, Duna, because they are parachute with heat shielding. So, well, thank you. I'm also going to be playing this again on Friday, so if you want to see more of it, because I know I'm technically in negative time now, I'm just waiting for my wife to text me and be like, where are you? But tomorrow I'll be doing a episode of Minecraft. I believe it is Mystical Block. It's an older one. I tell people, if you don't like something, feel free to skip a day. I try to be pretty honest with what I'm running and when I'm running it. But if you want to hang out and see me mess around with something I'm a lot worse at than this, absolutely join us tomorrow for that. But I will be playing this again on Friday, because I've always had fun with this, and getting back into it's just it's fun. I'm discovering new stuff all the time right now, because like the fact that there is a maneuver tool right here, that is blowing me away. I remember you used to have to download MechJeb just to be able to get access to something like this. And then the problem with MechJeb, well, it's not really a problem. MechJeb was cool, but it was basically computer-controlled rockets. So at a certain point, in order to get into a synchronous orbit, I had a standard body staging style, and so long as I kept the weight within a certain parameter, all I had to do was put the rocket on the pad and say run sequence, and it would always put the rocket in the exact same orbit. And it was nice because I didn't have to think about it. I didn't even have to be at the computer controls, but it also was one of those things of like, at a certain point I was sad because I was like, I'm not innovating. Yeah, there. So when you are good with math and sciences, you get a lot more out of MechJeb and stuff like that. Like, they have stuff a normal person can use, and you can teach yourself it, but it can go over your head very quickly, just because it's a bit of a bigger tool that's not necessary, especially now that the stuff's built in. It really bothers me that the nearby site is so far away. Wish I could just tell him, hey, roll down the hill. But my luck is he'd start rolling down the hill and then manage to just, you know, poof himself off into the mountain. One of the things I'm interested in seeing is I think they do have ore mining in this, and I remember the mod for that used to be so much fun because you could put a ore satellite up, and I would always launch that and let it gather data while I was doing other things, and then I would build a little ore refinery on the moon, because it turns out building rockets on the moon is very cost effective when you already have the materials available. Oh, absolutely. Sat scan and ore mining. Oh, chef's kiss. Used to be my go-to for just fun. Because I used to build all kinds of like satellite scanning rigs and try to challenge myself to make them as low tier as possible, if that makes sense. And just be like, what's the poor man's rocket? Let's see how poor we can be while doing this. Now, one of the things I really wish you could do is do the ore mining, use that to quote-unquote gather rare resources. There we go. Yay, recover him. And let's go recover our vessel. So I have it set where it lets me revert to the launch pad and all that, so I don't really have to worry about it costing anything until I mess stuff up, which does happen quite a bit. Recover you. Cover you. Cover you. For you. And then, so I'll show you real quick. Sat dropper is this little satellite relay I put up. He's got a big rocket because I had a lot more fuel than I thought I needed, so I'm just kind of keeping it up here in the event I need to move it or do anything with it. But he had 3 satellite drops built in. He's actually passing over one right now. And these little itty-bitty relays I basically dropped out of orbit. And they got a nice little satellite and they can communicate with me. The problem is I only put one of these on there, so I'm pretty sure it doesn't let me do much with it. Delete all these. Center. Have you done asparagus staging yet? Because I know not a lot of people know how to do that. So I did not do a tutorial on them, but I will be uploading Monday's video to my YouTube channel. I know you can go back into my history here on Twitch and check it out to see, because I build it all live. I try not to hide too much. But yeah, I'll move that over to my YouTube channel so that's easier to play back and you don't have to worry about losing it. But yeah, this is what the thing looks like here because I made it very janky. But because I built this way and put a heat shield on the back, basically what I could do is I can get it into a synchronous orbit, launch these guys out, and then when I want to decide where they go on the planet, I would just put them retrograde, fire a rocket. Once the rocket burns out, shoot it off, switch to heat shield, and just solid burn my way right back in. But I had someone on Monday who was actually asking me about asparagus staging, because it is something not a lot of people know about. I'm gonna build a fake rocket, basically. Basically, I'm just building a rocket to show off the proof of concept. I will be reloading it because I don't want to murder my guy to prove a point. But let's say that's as big as you want the rocket to be. I can do, and let's see, I want to do, which engine was it? I'll do swivel. It'll give me more control later on. But I would do this. And then you grab it and you do a pairing. Now if you want, you make it look pretty, put a nose cap on it. But instead of making a bunch of these individually, you actually go here and you make sets of pairs. And now all these into their own little thing. I don't know why I'm adding a parachute. I'm going to be reverting after I show this off. But you basically separate these into their own pairs. And then the ones that are going to fall off first, you take a fuel line, and you go from that to that. So now, these are going to fuel this. And then we want to make sure we actually get this in the right order. Then this is going to feed that. And then this is going to feed the primary rocket. And as silly as this sounds, we'll call this proof, or profess, as my friends like to say. We're going to do this, save it, just so if anyone asks me about it, I can show it off again. Is actually going to be exponentially more fuel efficient, or not fuel efficient, but more effective than you would normally think, because what I can do is rust it, and if you watch, you see how one of the bars is going down faster than the others? I can burn, and I can do a hard burn. And if you do the asparagus staging right, this actually becomes exponentially more useful, because you're going to watch, the engines are going to cut out, and then I'm going to jettison them. Now, if you notice, my fuel basically reset, and it's not even a glitch, it's just actual physics. But I didn't have to slow down, didn't have to switch anything. These still have all of their fuel. These still have all their fuel. It's actually pulling from these tanks. So I can just literally, like, this is the most inefficient way to do it, because I'm doing a hard burn. And I don't know if you know anything about that. Basically, it's me forcing my way out of the atmosphere against, like, friction and all that. And then Now these are finally spending it. And what happens is basically it passes fuel deeper and deeper into the staging. If we look here at maneuver, I'm at a decent periapse. Let me, or a decent apoapse. I can literally do this in a inefficient way, and I'm still burning, and I'm already out of the atmosphere. And if you had tried this normally, you'd run out of fuel. The only thing I would say is if you can add struts, because you see how that wobbles, that will basically be the bane of you eventually. But yeah. Let me go into a circularizing. Oh yeah, and it's funny because you can do this with smaller tanks. Now the reason I did that way is personally I hate space debris. I will see you next time too. If you want to give me 1 second though, I will show you. I still have the entire tank full. So if I were to say add a maneuver, and then just, I think I can, how do you warp to a maneuver node? I cannot for the life of me remember it. Create an alarm. Maneuver. Add alarm. Warp to maneuver. So I still have almost 3,500 Delta V I can use. Like, that's just... Asparagus staging is exponentially more efficient for the burns, because being this high up means all this fuel, I don't even have to use all of it, but I now have an orbital ring, and let me see. Okay, a mostly circularized orbit, and I still have enough fuel. I could probably go to the moon. I could go to Minmus. Technically, I think I might, if I did it right and did some jumps, I could get to Duna. And I did not use anywhere near my part limit. But I will revert this only because, yeah, it's a great goal. It saves you so much fuel. Because, like, I have done that with a rocket that had massive tanks. So, alright, I gotta get off too. Have a great night. Hopefully I'll see you either tomorrow or Friday. Take it easy.